Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday. The S&P 500 was down 0.4% today. We got the CPI inflation report number today, which came out at 2.7%, a little bit higher than it was last month. But when you dig behind the numbers, you can kind of see some of the impacts of the pass-throughs of some of these tariffs that are starting. So we're finally starting to see that. So, toys and sporting goods, household furniture, appliances are up more than they've been up in the last 5 years. A lot of these things are accelerating at a rate that was similar to the 2021-2022 period, at least, for the last month. Matter of fact, core goods was up 0.55%. So if you kind of play that out, that's what is that, a 6.5% gain on an annualized basis if it keeps going like that, which would be, a pretty big number. And so the market reacted a little bit to that, obviously. And then we had earnings reports that are also coming out, because that's the other thing everybody's curious about, is this going to impact earnings? And Albertsons comes out with a very low profit. And so in their call, they said, hey, we decided to, absorb the cost of the tariffs and eat into their profit margin instead of passing that along to the consumers, which sounds nice. But, they're in a competitive market. They probably have to be careful that, people can just go to a different grocery store and such too. However, in the end, the ownership of the Albertsons it's a public company. So you have an obligation to the shareholders as the management. As a matter of fact, that's where a lot of these shareholder lawsuits come from. So I don't think they'll be able to continuously eat the tariffs. It's just something that's happening. I believe that's one of the reasons why we're not seeing the bigger impact of these tariffs, although part of that is just time, because the tariffs have just kind of started. But and so that's, changed the outlook for when the Federal Reserve might lower rates. Still no expectation whatsoever that they'd lower rates here in July. But September was up in that kind of 60-70% for a while. It's all the way down to about 54% likelihood that there will be a rate cut there. And of course, we're going to get the CPI and PCE inflation reports that are going to come out here, for the rest of this time period before that September 17th meeting. And I've said for a while that I think the real impact both to earnings and to prices probably won't really be able to see those until August, September, October timeframe. So that's kind of combined with we have a seasonality that's happening here. So, the best half of a month, if you go back to 1928, is the first half of July, which we just finished today. And so, the market generally peaks out on the 17th of July because we have some soft seasonality coming up, especially in September. And so you got to combine that with the possibility of tariffs coming in and affecting earnings or prices, and both of which could be interesting to see how that would work. So anyway, that was what's kind of happening today altogether. Still a time to kind of watch closely and see what's going to happen with these, prices. Obviously, we have a lot of new tariffs that could be coming on. Some of them are quite large, but it may be just negotiating stance. So, for example, your 30% on the EU and 30% on Mexico is quite high. Just announced today that they've kind of settled with Indonesia at 19%. I think that's where they're trying to get to with Mexico and the EU also. So I don't know that we'll end up at 30%. But anyway, those numbers are still pretty high, and we don't know what the full impact will be of some of these things. So it's just something we'll continuously watch and see how this goes. But anyway, we're going to look forward to see what's going to happen. My next video will be Thursday. Won't be doing one tomorrow. And of course, we'll do the show on Friday. So look forward to seeing you then. Thank you very much.